That's what I did. Yeah. It was disrespectful.
Yeah.
That was my seat in there. I'm like, how do I make
I
this
switched the seats over here because I didn't know who got it.
Yeah.
I was like, must be like a really tall play.
He does this every
Yeah, it was the issue with the voters. Why did they not love you? You spoke eloquently. You saw that little video on public forum. I felt like you did an amazing job.
Oh, no, I see it. I see it.
Feel that heat?
Oh, yeah, I do. I like to open up all my windows and my house.
All of them are low. Mine was like, who sat in this chair?
It's been up here in every chair.
Every chair? I don't even know how to. Okay. Yeah, it's right there. There we go. Well, not cool when you can't see over the dais. Well, welcome everybody. It's nice to have you here tonight. We appreciate you being here for our city council meeting. And it's nice we've got everybody here tonight. So it hasn't been that way for a little bit. Well, we will go ahead and start tonight with our opening ceremony and turn the time over to Councilmember King.
All right. Can we please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And tonight I'd like to talk about how April recognizes Child Abuse Prevention Month and Sexual Assault Awareness Month. We will be discussing one later, so I would like to touch on child abuse prevention. Child abuse can include physical, sexual, emotional, or neglect, and it often occurs behind closed doors, making it hard to detect. So this is a community issue. This is everyone's responsibility that we have here in our city. Research states that when a child has at least one safe, stable adult that they can trust, whether it's a parent, teacher, coach, neighbor, community member, the risk of abuse drops significantly and the likelihood of early reporting goes way up. So this means that prevention isn't just the responsibility of a parent or a professional. It means it's the responsibility of everyone, and it belongs to all of us. I'd also like to recognize communities that care and the programs that they put forward to support protection factors, like their Strengthening Families classes and the Clearfield City Victim Services Program, Victim Advocate, and our trained officers that do the work on the ground to support our children and the survivors here in Clearfield. Thank you.
Thank you. Council, we've got minutes from January 16th our retreat minutes, and then the March 3rd work meeting, March 10th work meeting, March 10th policy meeting, and then March 24th work and policy sessions. Any changes or additions to the minutes?
I'll move to approve the minutes from January 16th for the work retreat meeting, March 3rd, 2026 work meeting, March 10th work meeting, March 10th policy session, March 24th work meeting, and March 24th policy session.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. That brings us to our open comment period, and I saw it. It was here. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I don't have any other forms then. Is there anyone here to address the council that is not? Oh, yes. Former Mayor Kendall Harris.
Hi, thank you so much for allowing me to come and just say hi. I want to thank you for your service. I was the mayor in Bountiful and on the city council before that, and so I understand the hours and the work that you put in. I am running for county commission, and so I just wanted to introduce myself. I'd love to talk to you further if you have questions, ideas, concerns, but thanks for the work you do, and I just wanted to check in and see what's going on in Clearfield, so thanks.
Thank you very much, Kendall. Okay, well, then we will move forward. Yes. Oh, yes. Ben Peterson.
Please introduce yourself.
Your Honor and members of the City Council, my name is Benjamin Peterson and I reside at 2340 South Main Street in Clearfield. And we've lived in our home for almost 22 years. We love our community, serve in our community, and especially love and appreciate our neighbors that reside on our block. On April 20th, 2026, at 8 o'clock in the morning, my boys who have rooms in our basement started shouting upstairs that their rooms were filling up with water. We very quickly found out that it was not water, but in fact raw sewage that was backing up into our home. Our whole family immediately leapt into action, trying to get as much as we could out of our rooms as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, my 3 sons lost most of their clothes, bedding, electronics, and other valuables that were stored under desks or which were on their floors when the flooding occurred. When we had removed what we could out of the flooded areas, we started tearing out all the contaminated flooring and furniture in our basement. In the middle of this chaos, my wife called dispatch and reported the flooding to the city. We are so grateful and appreciate the crews that responded so quickly. We also contacted our city sewer line insurance company to report the problem and file a claim. They immediately dispatched a plumber to clear any blockages in our line, as we thought that perhaps the blockage was on our end. However, this inspection found out that our line was clear. This was reaffirmed by Clearfield City Public Works crews, who told us that the sewage which had flooded our homes had been caused by a large grease blockage in the city sewer line north of our home. I reiterate, the flooding that we experienced was not caused by any tree roots, blockages, adverse weather, or neglect on our part as residents. It was because of the city sewer line was blocked. Even though we have 2 forms of insurance coverage on our home, we are in a dispute with both companies because the cause of the flooding came from the city sewer line and not our own. That has forced us to front all the remediation and repair costs, which have been substantial. Last week alone, the 7 members of my family logged over 300 man-hours together, ripping out sewage-soaked flooring, clearing out water and sewage sludge left behind as the floodwaters receded, spraying and scrubbing walls and floors with industrial chemicals to disinfect impacted areas, making multiple trips to the landfill, discarding all contaminated items, emptying out our entire basement, making additional trips daily to a rented storage unit to be housed for the next several weeks while we work on these repairs, and to the store for additional cleaning supplies and replacing necessary items that were destroyed in the flood. To complicate matters further, I am someone who is immunocompromised. My condition makes me more susceptible to airborne diseases and microbes commonly found in sewage than most people with a healthy immune system. I receive weekly injections from a home health care nurse to help manage my condition. But when faced with our current situation, I cannot receive these much-needed life-saving medicines because my immune system is already having to work overtime to fight what has already been airing out in my home. Due to my condition, I work exclusively from home and have had to burn a full week of vacation to manage the much-needed repairs to our home. I have had to log back into work this week to fulfill my job responsibilities while having to occasionally step away from my desk to coordinate repairs, talk to adjusters and contractors. Customers I'm on the phone with are being disrupted by loud noises coming from active demolition efforts in my basement. In addition to me, my kids who also live with us have also had to take unpaid leave from their jobs and or step away from schooling to help out, something that they're not being compensated for either. Thankfully, in the midst of all of this, we were able to find emergency housing for the first 4 days after the flooding, but have since had to be back at our home to continue working on the damage and to sleep. This has made matters more difficult for us as we have been further exposed to the city's sewer damage. I have watched my wife and my kids struggle with respiratory issues, fevers, and vomiting that have pushed through being exposed to now dry sewage remnants under baseboards and walls while trying to save what we can and begin rebuilding. As I mentioned earlier, everything that my family and many of my neighbors that are here today have endured this past week stems from a problem in the city's sewer line. I join with my neighbors in asking you to file a claim on our behalf with the city's insurance and make it right. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Do you want to hit that at all? I don't know that there's more we can say.
I think there was someone else.
Oh.
Hello, everyone. My name is Evangelina Solis, and I don't speak real good English, so I hope you guys understand. I live in the 2380 South Main in Clearfield, and Monday morning, April 20th, I wake up at 6 in the morning, take my son to work, and then when I come back, I said, oh, I'm going to start washing some clothes in the laundry room. And then when I went in the laundry room, the water like high. So I says, what's wrong? So I called my husband. Something is, the water is flowing in the laundry room. So he wake up, we got buckets, and we don't know it's a dirty water. So we don't have gloves or anything. And then we start taking the water outside, dump it. But later the city, Clearfield City came, and he says, no, you need to put the water in the grass because it's going to be, it's dirty water. So it's like a nightmare because we live like that for 3 days with all the smell. And our insurance, they say we don't have insurance for that. Only for the house getting fire. We live in the house for 45 years. We never have any problems. And now we lost everything in the basement. Our beds, everything closed, all the electronics. So we sleep in the sofas upstairs. But the last couple of days, because the company came and cleaned it up, and they have like a whole bunch of fans. So it's so noisy and it's cold. And then, so we went to my daughter's house. And then we still have the fence they leave the fence Friday until today. And then we called and they didn't answer. We got this company. And then they says, like, we don't have insurance. We don't have money because we don't work anymore. We to retire, my husband and I. And they says it's going to be like $14,000. So I hope you guys help us. I don't know how we're going to pay all this money. But we lost a lot. They take all the carpet out and they do a lot of work in the basement. But they cut the wall, how do you say it? They cut a lot of, all around, in the rooms, restrooms, everywhere. They cut a lot of the walls. So I hope they come in and fix it. And I don't know what I'm going to do. But I think I'm getting depressed. And then, like at first we don't know it's dirty water, so I touched my face. And now I had infected all my eye and this my nose. But I put all that on makeup today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, esteemed members of the council. My name is Vicente Utrera. I live at 2391 South Main Street as well. As our neighbors already stated, around 6:30 in the morning, we wake up and we were like, what's that smell? And like, so we went downstairs and like I was trying to see the water coming up out of the tub. Then eventually we thought like maybe there's a blockage or something. So we went in there with the pump, trying to like clear the blockage. To no avail. Like everything just started to overflow. All I had time for was just to take a quick video of everything that was happening. And then everything just started to feel all over the floor. Unfortunately, like I wasn't able to save anything at all down there. Bedding, like furniture, like carpet gone, like, and then it started to go into the furnace area. And it didn't occur to me at the time. Unfortunately, the furnace was on, and the smell got all over the house. It was kind of trying. Fortunately, like as our neighbor already stated, they were able to respond fairly quickly. Like after a few hours, the water just started to recede, but at that point, like the damage was already done. My poor mother, like God bless her soul, she tried her best to keep a head above water, but it was impossible. Like she started to like feeling sick and bad, so I thought like, let me take care of everything. So I called insurance. I called the city as well because like we wanted to report what happened. Unfortunately, like they were able to send somebody to actually start doing work on it. We had to use part of our house insurance for that. So they were able to start doing cleanup as far as like ripping the carpet out, the wall. They took out most of the stuff out that was damaged. They're not quite done yet. They put the fans on and start trying to dry out the basement. And then we're still like trying to fight with them to see if they will cover the reconstruction part of it. But they don't have an answer for me until like probably Friday, unfortunately. Luckily, there wasn't anything that was high in sentimental value down the basement. It was mostly just furniture, clothes, bedding, and all, just basic stuff like that. The main thing that I really worry about will be the furnace, honestly, because if it was on, then all that humidity got absorbed into the base of the furnace. That gets into the motherboard and everything just shorts out. As it is, I did have to dedicate a couple days just to take care of everything. I did have days off, so I was able to use my time off for that. So I didn't really lose any of my pay, but, lose days off on that one. My main thing, like I say, is furnish the time is until like just trying to finish the reconstruction. If we could get any help with that area, like so I'm waiting for the insurance. They say they will get back to us on Friday, so hopefully it will be a positive result. Crossing fingers. But it has been a very trying situation. Mostly it's just the smell and all the contaminants. Like she refuses to go downstairs now because like all she can see when she goes downstairs is all the memory of like everything just floating out. If you guys would like to see, like I do have the videos of when it was happening, which is really bad. I will see the floor to my neighbors now. Like if you have any questions, like we'll be here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Lori Shreve. I live at 2370 South Main in Clearfield. All of these guys are my neighbors. I feel like I was one of the fortunate ones. I only had sewage backup in my bathtub. So the rest of the basement is fine, but we got 3 or 4 inches of raw sewage in my bathtub. I'm grateful that it drained. My husband's on hospice. I couldn't handle any more. So I'm just very grateful. That's all we had to deal with. But I came in support of my neighbors. They're good people. They've all lived here for a long time. And the financial burden that they're having to go through is incredible. If there's any way you guys can help them, please do. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? I will tell you, we have reached out to our insurance company. I don't know where we are with that at this point, or where that will land as to whether or not our insurance company will cover it. Part of that goes to whether or not they will determine that it was our fault. And kind of, you know insurance companies, and you've filed with yours, and they go, it wasn't your fault, so why should we cover it? And we may face that same problem, but we are discussing that with our insurance company at this point to see if there's a way to make that work. It is difficult. It's a line that we cleared last July, and so we actually had it cleaned out less than a year ago, and we're just now trying to figuring out for sure where it came from, and we're working on it. I can't tell you. I mean, I feel horrible for you. I don't know how to express that with words, because I can't even imagine. Some of you have been through way more than you ever deserve to go through, and you've borne more burdens than I can possibly even fathom, and I hate to see that happen. I hate to see that happen to any of our residents, and that's a lot to deal with. I went through it a few years ago, and it was my line at that point, and we ended up replacing our line, but I know what it's like to have inches of sewage in your basement and having to deal with that to get it out. So just know that we're working down that avenue. Is there anyone else that was here to speak to us tonight? Okay, then we will move on. Next item on our agenda is the recognition of a couple of years ago, we actually did in perpetuity a proclamation declaring the month of April each year as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And we didn't want to have to do that every year. It's something that was important enough to say, you know what, we're just doing this permanently. And so in Clearfield City, every April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And we've got Jenna Nelson here she's actually our Youth Commission adult leader. We're going to turn some time over to her to present to us.
Thank you, guys. Mr. Mayor, council members, staff, residents, thank you for allowing me the time to talk on this very important topic today. In the mid-90s, while I was a teenager, I was sexually abused for over 2 years by a trusted instructor in the community. He groomed me, assaulted me, and gaslit me the entire time. He found a way into my confidence when my dad had a heart attack by being there to offer me support, allowed me to talk about the fears I had with my dad's hospitalization, and continued befriending me over time. When he progressed to sexual abuse, I didn't even realize what was happening. My immature brain and emotions were confused, but allowed it. How could this be inappropriate? I trusted him. I trained with him almost daily. He wouldn't do anything to hurt me, right? I never said anything to anyone out of fear that my dad would get angry and harm my abuser and end up in prison. Or as my abuser said, if your dad found out about our relationship, he wouldn't understand. He would have another heart attack and die. So why would I say anything to anyone when I feared losing my dad one way or another? 17 years later, I found the courage to say something. It was too late to prosecute, as the statute of limitations for reporting these crimes at that time was only 4 years. I have since worked with our state legislature to change that. Thanks to House Bill 2020 House Bill 247, the statute of limitations now gives a minor until age 28 to report sex crimes committed against them between the ages of 14 and 18. Even with my experience in being a survivor and advocating for victims and for laws to be updated and changed, I still became a victim a second time just a few years ago. Knowing the signs, being vocal, and having self-defense training doesn't matter. It can happen to anyone at any time. Dating violence and romantic partner sex crimes are a real thing. While you're in a relationship, it is easy to miss how you are being abused and assaulted. The abuse can make you think that you're crazy or overreacting. They isolate their victims so they have no one to talk to. These things are common in an abusive relationship. Thankfully, over the years, many things have changed. There is more discussion and exposure of these crimes. It is no longer a crime that regularly is ignored or swept under the rug. Each year during the month of April, sexual assaults are brought to awareness with the hopes of reaching more victims to assist them in reporting the crimes, getting victims connected with resources, and making sure victims feel safe and protected. Any sex crime is unacceptable, but it's even worse when these crimes occur to a child. More and more programs and advocacy for these crimes are being introduced. Clearfield City is one city who has become proactive by creating a position for a victim's advocate. I want to thank Clearfield City for their efforts and dedication to help victims and survivors navigate the terrifying world victims and survivors ultimately find themselves in. I've invited Teresa here tonight to go over some of the things Clearfield City can assist victims and survivors with. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenna.
Hi, I'm Teresa. I'm the Clearfield City Victim Advocate. I know most of you know, but for anybody who doesn't, I'm here to support and offer resources to anybody who's a victim in Clearfield and really anywhere, but I can connect everybody with resources and some financial support as well, but I'm working mostly with domestic violence, sex assault, and child abuse, but I'm here as a resource and if anybody needs me.
Thank you, Teresa. We appreciate all you do. And thanks again, Jenna. Okay, item number 3 is to consider approval of ordinance 2026-06, approving a zoning map amendment to rezone the properties located at approximately 240 East, 1700 South, from C2 commercial and A1 agricultural to R3 residential and R16 residential to allow for a mixed-use development. Stacy's plugging in. This is one we heard a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. And so we'll turn the time over to Stacy to kind of update us.
You showing up?
Yep, you're up.
Okay. So bear with me. Tyson's out tonight, so I'm the one that gets to present. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. I've got Spencer here, so if I need to phone a friend, I will use that as my lifeline. So as the mayor mentioned, we did discuss this the end of March 24th. Just as a reminder, this is for Chalmers Row. Right here on this map, you can see the proposals of 0.99 acres of commercial right off of Antelope Drive, 18 single-family attached townhomes, and then 2 single-family lots. So as of today, staff has not received any additional information since the last time that we've met with you guys. Just looking at the future land use, the general commercial addresses it as primarily for commercial uses, allows mixed use with residential, and with a mixed use proposal, commercial is primary the consideration. In looking at the layout of this project, we just wanted to make a note that this proposal is approximately 40% commercial and 60% residential. And then down below that, it just talks about the general plan amendment consideration. So staff did come to you with the conclusion that it was consistent with general plan and future land use descriptions. However, you guys as the legislative body, if you felt like this did constitute a general plan amendment, that is something that could be considered and we could move forward with that. There was discussion, as you guys recall, about having a second access off of 1800 South that would eventually tie into 400 East, I think? Yeah. That's the road? Okay. So as of today, that access has not been provided or proposed. And then just wanted to throw some things out. The applicant has wanted to, request a development agreement that would include limited permitted commercial uses that align with our permitted uses in our city code, require the townhomes to be for sale with 1-year occupancy, and that's 18 townhomes, and then establish site designs and development standards. And I do believe the applicant is here tonight. I think they were requesting to also speak with the council. But based on tonight's decision, basically we're in the situation to either approve the rezone as conditioned, deny the rezone request. It's been tabled once already, so I'm not sure if it's something you guys want to table again, because we do need to make a decision. So,
Okay.
the applicant would like to come up and speak.
Thanks, Stacy.
You guys okay if I take my computer with me?
It's not a public hearing, but with council's blessing, if you're okay with it, go ahead and let the applicant come up.
Good evening. I'm Tanner Webster. I appreciate you giving me the time to talk. Just first wanted to address, I guess, a point of confusion on my end on the slides. We did provide some additional information. I don't know if it was miscommunicated or something about kind of going more in depth on the development agreement. We were, I guess, maybe denied is the wrong word, but we were hoping to do a work session, but we were not able to. So I don't know what the process is of having more of a discussion. If it's here and we table it again, we're happy to do that. To summarize kind of the project, we would love to work with everybody on this. We already have the C2 zone on an acre of that. If we have to do a single commercial use, we can do that. The problem with that is, I guess, one, we want to do a full project. We want to do townhomes with single family in the back. We want to do a full project, but the seller does not have greenbelt status anymore, and they're paying full freight on their property taxes, and the reality is they need to do something. And whether that's with us or somebody else, it's just going to be a less desirable use for that corner than if I can subsidize it with the revenue from the single family and the townhomes. So we want to work with everybody. We just kind of want the opportunity to do that. And some of the things that we would like to do are the use restrictions around the commercial uses. Like, we'd be happy to say no auto body or anything like that, because that's most likely the use that we would have to do if it is a single standalone project. We're happy to do a development agreement with a contingent on like a traffic memo or something like that, because that is kind of the concern. And then also, even if we did get the access off of 1800 South, it is not up to code. So that is kind of something that we just have to wait for through eminent domain. And it's a private property owner who we have tried dozens of times to get in touch with, to no avail. And so my request is that if we could get working on a work session with everybody, that's what we would like to do. We'd like to develop this as a full project with the city. But if we were unable to do that, then we would most likely have to move forward with the commercial development. And in the future, I think that is less desirable for the city in 10 years once that road on 1800 South, or 20 years whenever that road on 1800 South is connected. So happy to answer any questions. If you want to discuss this now, I'm happy to, or I can come up after.
I think that the number one concern as council met last time and tabled it is the access, because we've got one driveway is basically what we're looking at. So we've got a commercial flag lot with multiple units behind it, and just a really unusual flag lot on there. Council, back to you.
My original concern on this, and while I appreciate a collaborative spirit and wanting to work forward on it, the items that you've brought up on the development agreement miss entirely where my concern is, and that is a neighborhood without access. It's asking to use the back alley of a business to service 20-plus homes. We would never allow a development to come in and to have housing that we desperately need for our residents and ask them to drive down the back, behind a back alley, behind a business. Several hundred feet to involve multiple entities, to have really complicated issues as far as how that's going to be managed, long-term upkeep and care. And we have dealt with in the city where we have had to have multiple agencies or parties involved in kind of access on that. When those fail, the city then has to assume the responsibility of that. So we would be going into a project with a likelihood of our residents needing to subsidize a project that didn't have the access up front. We recognize the constraints of commercial. It is a very difficult project. The constraints on that project are what they are. But to put a neighborhood in without the most basic of access ones is dead in the water as far as a planning concern if I were to vote on this right now. And so if we're going to build a neighborhood anywhere, if we cannot provide access to that, then that's something then that maybe we don't need to have a neighborhood there yet. Let's solve that. And I realize that's difficult when you've got multiple property owners. But restrictions on a commercial use, the other things that you had brought forward are wonderful steps if that was the only thing that we were worried about. Yes, we want to have owner-occupied in those townhomes. Wonderful. But if I can't get them other than down the back alley of a commercial one several hundred feet, I'm still trying to access a neighborhood through AutoZone's backyard.
Sure. And that was kind of what we were hoping to discuss in a work session, is how we could mitigate those concerns if it's even possible.
And the difficult thing, and this is, I'm not in your world, is there are some pieces of property that are going to have constraints because of that piece of property, where there's going to be only certain things that you can do because of that, or until there's either cross-access easement, some kind of a development agreement with an adjoining property owner, or a consolidation of parcels. We can't force that as a city, and you're limited as far as a willingness for that. But when those constraints hit, they are real for us, for me. I do not speak for my colleagues, but for me to then shoehorn in a neighborhood because we hit just natural impediments to development is reckless. And I can't in good faith do that. We need homes in Clearfield, and I love the idea of owner-occupied. This is my neighborhood. The need is there, and again, I've pointed out along, it was really thoughtfully, I think, put together as far as the way you phase that and an awareness of those right there. But if we don't have the most basic of utility access on there, which is a road, the conversation stops. As far as a housing component, the commercial one is what it is, and that's your world. But there's no other place in the city on any other things where this type of a property with those type of constraints would be allowed.
Council, any other thoughts, concerns?
I think Nika said it great, and just kind of to the point that the access is not there. It does not sound like it will be there anytime in the future, and it's not fair to residents. I think to put that in, as much as we would love more housing and owner occupancy.
Have you thought about taking it to an outside, somebody in your professional world that has restrictions in an area similar to this? Have you considered like brainstorming with other engineers,
Yeah, I've talked to many engineers and architects, and
they didn't give you any other solid?
No, we talked to many home builders as well. As we're developers, we do happen to build houses as well, and it was just not a concern for them as far as feasibility of someone wanting to buy the home. And so for us, if the access is inferior to some people, that's fine, as long as other people, if they want to live there, they can buy the home, and if they plan on the access coming into on the west side, if they're comfortable with that, then we don't want to restrict them from that. So that was kind of our thought process around this. And again, that's why I was hoping for the work session, is so we could address some of these concerns and kind of brainstorm together with the council. So.
It also has safety involved with that as well. So that one road is also going to deal with any type of emergency situation.
Oh, yeah.
So there's layers to it.
Yeah.
That maybe brainstorming those ideas on why we would only ask for one road. Why would it only make sense to put one road into an establishment? If it's from 1960, 1950, that would make sense because they're adapting to what currently exists. But we're trying to build what's new, and we can't go backwards because of this project.
Sure.
So
yeah,
love it, but it's just not.
Yeah, we did talk to a traffic engineer about this, and again, the planning of the minor collector on the south, I'm not going to speak for him too much, but he thought that was adequate for planning for the future. So.
I guess, I appreciate the desire to further the conversation and understand the idea around having a work session around it. I guess my point blank question is, have you heard any response from either Lakeview Apartments or Madec Enterprises, the parcel owners surrounding it, that would give us any assurance that there's any belief the access could be acquired or extended?
The access, from my understanding, it's not up to them. It's on the general plan, and from what we've had conversations with the staff, it's going to be eminent domain in the future. And that was kind of my comment earlier about even if they did say yes, it would be not up to city code. And so that is a city standard that they will have to do in the future regardless of what they say. But we haven't received any response. I've emailed a lot of times. So
this is tough because property owner's the property owner, and like the Chalmers families, this is a weird situation that obviously you've been put in with the family, that because the piece to the east there is kind of crucial. Developing all of that is a no-brainer for the city in the long term. But you got part of the family just saying absolutely not, and we're not participating, and that makes that really tough on the one property owner. But I think it's that one thing that we've got to be able to get past. And so I think the reason for the work session, or the not work session, was really that. It's kind of a, as Councilmember Peterson put it, it's kind of a non-starter if we can't have access to it. And having people come down, not a road, but a driveway, whether that's behind or in front of commercial space, it is what it is. And there's no way to feasibly change that without access from one of the other directions. So, Council?
Your Honor, I move to deny ordinance 2026-06, approving a zoning map amendment to rezone the properties located approximately 240 East, 1700 South, from C2 and A1 to C2, R3, and R16, to not allow for mixed-use development, and authorize your signature to any necessary documents.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. It is an ordinance, so we need a roll call vote. Councilmember Thompson?
Aye.
Councilmember Peterson?
Aye.
Councilmember Worth?
Aye.
Councilmember Ratchford?
Aye.
Councilmember King?
Aye.
That is unanimous.
thank you.
And item number 4 is to consider approval of Resolution 2026-R06, approving the interlocal agreement between Clearfield City, Layton City, Davis County, to create a home consortium, the Home Investment Partnership Program. We'll turn some time over to our city attorney. Was it you that's got this one?
It was me. That was corresponding.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. This is the Davis County Home Consortium. This works. Yes. Oh, microphone. Sorry. Let me catch up here. My brain has been somewhere else. I'm looking down at the guy that wrote this, so it makes me a little nervous talking about it. It's a really great program that the county runs. They need an interlocal agreement with Layton and Clearfield because we are entitlement cities, so to be able to fulfill their ability to give out as much funding as possible, we need to sign on to the interlocal. We did it before. This is just a redo of the same interlocal. It's to provide, expanding the supply for decent, affordable housing for low to very low income families, building state and local capacity to carry out affordable housing programs, providing for coordinated assistance to participants, and the development of affordable low to income housing. We did talk to them today, and they're modifying their program and keeping it moving to try to make more people be able to apply for it. Hasn't got a lot of takers at this point or qualifying, so they are expanding it. I believe they're using some of the funding to do home improvement projects now through Habitat for Humanity. So that's something that we actually contemplated running that through ours, but we didn't. So that is good for our residents that they will qualify for that too. So
do they do emergency rehab?
Just tossing it out there.
No. Contact the county. That's a good question.
Unfortunately,
I'm just looking for any option I got.
I don't speak for the county, but I don't think so.
Darn it, and we got the county sitting down at the other end of the dais.
Oh, no. I'm disconnected from this now.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Stuart. Do we have a motion on this, Council?
Your Honor, I would move to approve Resolution 2026-R-06, approving the interlocal agreement between Clearfield City, Layton City, and Davis County to create a home consortium for the Home Investment Partnership Program, and authorize your signature to any necessary documents.
And I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Councilmember Worth?
Aye.
Councilmember Ratchford?
Aye.
Councilmember Peterson?
Aye.
Councilmember King?
Aye.
Councilmember Thompson.
Aye.
That is unanimous, and that brings us to our communication items. It was wonderful this morning. I got to be at Clearfield High for the scholarship awards and to present our scholarship, which I explained to them is really fun because we don't choose it. And as much as I would like to choose the scholarship, we don't even see the applicants or the applications come through. We leave that to Clearfield High and give them our requirements for the scholarship and let them choose. And so it was fun this morning to go out and be able to present that scholarship to the chair of our youth commission, to Addison Adams. And so congratulations to her. We awarded her a $1,000 scholarship this morning, and it was wonderful to be able to do that for her and to be able to take a picture with her this morning. Had some really good meetings this past week with America's Housing Comeback, as we discussed. This portion of it was on planning and how we deal with planning from, when you it's really easy from the city side to say we don't plan, we don't have to do this. But when you're sitting in a room with the home builders and the planners and the mortgage bankers and the realtors all looking at this, there was some interesting things that came up as we talked about planning and looked at parking and whether or not we should ever be including parking in our ordinance at all. And there's a general consensus throughout that's really kind of passing through the entire planning community that we should not have requirements for parking. And I looked at that and went, that's absolutely ridiculous. And the builder said we wouldn't build it if we can't sell it. And the bank said we won't finance it if it's underparked. So it was an interesting concept, one I'd have to weigh out to really look at the long term of that. I am gone tomorrow through the end of the week. Be out in Savannah, Georgia, to join with a bunch of mayors to kick off Jewish American Heritage Month. And Dakota's going, I want to go. I'll actually be speaking at that one. And then I am gone the following week to Air War College, and then the following week to Association of Defense Communities, so doing a little bit with the Air Force for the couple of weeks. They did give me homework for Air War College. Turns out when they say college, they're not joking. It was 2 full inches of paperwork that I have to read and digest and have ready to discuss next week. So, Megan,
That's cool.
you got some
very
time
excited to
to
hear the
hopefully
stories.
not a ton of meetings, but
Yeah.
And then as soon as I do get back, Spencer and I are headed to Vegas for the ICSC, the retail convention. As we try to bring in, we've been discussing things that we want to focus on, and we're actually going out there taking Chuck with us from Lakeside Development to go join with us on this one. So
Nice. Very nice.
So that is that's what I got for now. Councilmember Peterson.
Nothing from Wasatch Integrated tonight, thanks.
Councilmember Worth.
Just a couple of things. The Parks Commission is hosting a Steed Pond cleanup event on Saturday, May 16th from 9 to 12. And then Crush Golf Course is having its grand opening, or it is opening May 21st. So that is coming soon.
Yes.
That's all I've got.
Okay. Councilmember Ratchford.
The Davis County Business Expo is tomorrow at Davis Center. Please make sure you come to get fun, gifts, prizes, and food. They had a ice cream machine last year, which was amazing. And then we'll be there as well. There are probably upwards of about 100 to 150 vendors that come out to this. So to give you some ideas, a lot of it has to do with home renovation. In this example, restoration might be one of those partners that you can kind of see. And then you would just get, something to kind of brighten the spirit. It's a really good event. The last one, that's tomorrow from 1:30 to 5 p.m. And then on May 19th, there's an event called the Giving Tea, and we're having it at, I can't remember the name of the place, but it's in Layton. It's in that other city. But it is for the spouses of the individuals deployed, and it is a time for them to just come together to get to know each other and form relationships while their spouses are deployed. So that's a big thing. Fire department, we are going through the budget. Seems to be going really smoothly. It's kind of freaking me out a little bit, but we're getting there. And we should actually have a tentative budget on the next meeting, so that will be good. And I think that might be all that I have.
Okay. Councilmember King?
All right, mosquito abatement is getting started early this year due to the warm winter. So you can request to have your neighborhood sprayed and have them come out. That is done through your taxes. So if you are seeing extra mosquitoes in your area, go ahead and request for them to come out. Communities that care, I touched on them earlier, but one of the initiatives that they're doing is the chat campaign, and that is encouraging meaningful moments between parents and their teenagers. They did do a walkthrough with Clearfield Aquatic Center about putting one of the installations in there for Clearfield residents, and they have also put out the parent survey. So every year they do the student survey, and they use that data based on Clearfield, Davis County, and North Davis to decide which programs they're going to put into place, the protective factors, the risk factors, and they want parent input so that they can also help decide where to best use their resources and money for parents as well. So you can go to tinyurl.com/NorthDavis parents, and you can fill out the survey there, and please fill it out. The more people that fill it out, the more data that we have, and the better we can serve the community.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Thompson.
So all I have to report is that when I did find out this news about the sewer, actually, I'm still trying to get with Public Works on some things. What I do promise you guys, though, is that your stories will be told. Not only that, last year I was campaigning. There's a resident, I want to drive to his house again, called a couple of times during last year. He had the same issue as you guys, but he had it a couple times. And so he was dealing with the same insurance issues also, and I couldn't get more data from him because nice guy, but pretty quiet guy. With that said, it kind of makes me more fearful of a broader issue, not even just affecting Main Street, but even his neighborhood over where he was dealing with. So I do promise you sometime this week I will sit down with Public Works to get more data about certain problem areas. We actually, in February, raised the rates on review of grease traps and grease in the sewer district. Just in general, we did that. So as I explore all this, what I would tell you guys is please feel free to email me. I actually encourage you to email me your stories. It makes it more impactful for me to tell it as I go sit down with the sewer district. And I promise you I'll do my best to get to the bottom of what I can on this.
Okay, thank you. City Manager, JJ.
Yeah, I guess along the same lines, I just wanted to say thank you to all the residents that came to share their stories. It's so tragic and heartbreaking, so very sorry about that, and we'll do the best we can to represent everybody fairly. Can't make any promises, of course, at this point, but we'll do the best we can. And I wanted to thank the City Council for providing us training opportunities. A few of us were just at a conference for city managers, and others have other opportunities as well. It's very helpful to be able to go and be with our peers and learn from each other and get the training and professional development opportunities. So thank you.
Nancy?
Just our schedule, we do have a work session planned for next week, and then we've got a pretty big meeting scheduled for May 12th where we'll have the presentation of our tentative budget. And then our next meeting is scheduled for May 26th. So.
Okay, any other staff reports? All right, seeing none, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
And we stand adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
List of items that you need replaced.